Chief Justice David Maraga has written to President Uhuru Kenyatta asking him to dissolve the parliament for its disregard of the constitution in implementing the two-thirds gender representation rule. In his letter, the CJ argues, and I quote, "It is incontestable that Parliament has not complied with the High Court order as such for over 9 years now. Parliament has not enacted the legislation required to implement the two-thirds gender rule, which, as the Court of Appeal observed in its judgment, it is a clear testimony of Parliament's lackadaisical attitude and conduct in this matter. Consequently, it is my constitutional duty to advise Your Excellency to dissolve Parliament under Article 261(7) of the Constitution." End of quote. According to Article 261, subsection 7 of the Constitution, and I quote, "If Parliament fails to enact the legislation in accordance with an order under Clause 6B, the Chief Justice shall advise the President to dissolve Parliament, and the President shall dissolve Parliament." End of quote. Further, the same article, subsection 8 states, and I quote, "If Parliament has been dissolved under Clause 7, the new Parliament shall enact the required legislation within the period specified in the 5th schedule, beginning with the date of commencement of the term of the new Parliament." End of quote. The move by the Chief Justice to advise the President to disband the Parliament attracted the attention of Speaker Justin Muturi. The Speaker, in his opinion, noted that many government offices, including the Cabinet, had not implemented the two-thirds gender rule, saying that Parliament had turned into a punching bag. In a joint response, speakers of both houses stated, and I quote, "Given the crisis imposed upon the country by the coronavirus pandemic, it will be against public interest if the Chief Justice advises the President to dissolve Parliament." End of quote. Politicians, including women MPs, have weighed in on the matter, with a section of them seeming to support the disbandment of the Parliament.
Actually supports the dissolution of Parliament. Fortunately, at least the Senate, we've achieved the two-thirds gender, but it's not achieved yet in the National Assembly, but I actually support the dissolution of Parliament.
My advice to the CJ should have been, this constitution is progressive. You remember it's 10 years in place. And therefore, it would have been more better to give room for Parliament for progressive achievement. Even if you look at Rwanda, where they have achieved a third gender rule, you should appreciate that they are now at 50%. You should appreciate that we should allow progressive gender. But if wakitaka kufutilia bunge mbali, ni sawa.
Maraga is standing on the right side of history.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Because we are celebrating 10 years of Katiba.
Yes.
Every other provision, every small provision, including land, including, think about it, equality, every other provision has been implemented by a law, except the two-thirds gender rule.
Let us give Parliament time, because there is a lot of dynamics and challenges in terms of this rule.
For now, the country awaits a response from the President over the matter on whether to dissolve the Parliament or disregard the CJ's advisory, despite the continued perceived strained relationship between the two. Giverson Minor, K24, Nairobi.